were a great learning for me personally. So right now I feel like I am the wrench in this robots party. Because so far it has been all on robots and AI, but this is DevOps, which is the wrench in the party. So before I get into my presentation, let me introduce myself. So I am Niranjan. I started my career as an open source contributor 23 years ago in DevOps, and I'm still with DevOps. So still we are not bored with each other. Before this, I've been building DevOps platforms, and Release All is my DevOps platform for SAP. So since many of you may or may not have heard about Release All, I'll just take 1 minute to walk through what Release All is about. Release All is a BTP application in the first place. We are one of the early BTP applications with native DevOps, built on SAP, built for SAP. We are an ISO certified and SAP certified platform, and we are available on SAP Store. So in terms of the capabilities, be it for the transport management, be it for the MTAR deployments with BTP, the iFlows and value maps, support for CPI, the SAC and DataSphere, Release All is on a mission to be the DevOps platform supporting all, whether it is on-prem, whether it is hybrid, whether it is pure cloud, to be able to provide packaging, deployment, compliance, testing for these applications. We also have multiverse, wherein you can deploy with one user story multiple different SAP artifacts, and Release All takes care of deploying them to the right destinations. So without further ado, I just will get into the topic. So we have been putting a lot of effort in the recent past in terms of enabling gCTS for customers, and I thought it is good to share some of the experiences, challenges that we have seen. And so before I get into, probably one question that I would like to ask the audience is, how many of you have implemented gCTS in your projects? Okay, then it is 0, then that means this session will be insightful. gCTS has been there as long as CETS has been there. But adoption of gCTS have found a lot of challenges, and that is where we are trying to take gCTS much deeper. So what gCTS brings is, it combines the traditional change and transport system with version control. Now when I say version control, it gives you, especially managing multiple parallel landscapes, multiple different SIT systems. For example, for the same SIT or multiple pre-prod boxes that you have to maintain parallel releases within the same landscape. Version control is a very, very essential thing to have. If you look at any other project, be it a Java project, .NET project, they cannot exist without version control. And SAP for long have not really explored Git and gCTS like how we have today in this audience. Then, so gCTS allows you to branch and merge if you want to really maintain the aspects of feature branches, hotfix branches, maintain isolation. gCTS gives you that. And on top of it, gCTS has good OData and REST services, wherein you can pretty much abstract any Git operation. Git is robust, used across the globe big time in most complex projects. And with the support that gCTS has, you can wrap any Git operation for that matter. So this is something that you are all familiar in terms of an architecture, the dev, QA, pre-prod, prod, and then you have BAU, the business as usual or maintenance, we call it as. So various types of branches that we can see, the feature branches, if you really want to establish a continuous delivery pipeline, feature branches are a great way. But there are challenges with feature branches for gCTS. I will talk about that. Then hotfix branches, this is where for urgent production issues, to be able to take the baseline of your production and then to give a fix and to be able to deliver. Hotfix branches are a great way. Then master branch is your production, always production ready code is production matching code will be in your master branch. And for each of your environments, you can have an environment branch, whether it is QA, staging, prod, you can have your environment branches. So some of the key operations that we use extensively in implementing gCTS is gCTS switch. So the way gCTS is implemented in SAP is you will connect a particular Git branch to an SAP box. So that is how, it's a tight coupling. You attach a branch to an SAP system. And when you use switch, you can make your SAP system point to a different branch. This is especially useful if you want to switch, you have one developer, one dev system, and you want to use it for business as usual. You want to use it for hot fixes, P0, P1 incidents. This switch gives you that capability to when you say switch, the entire object's entire system will move from, let's say it was previously a maintenance, now you want to make it as a hot fix. So it will, if you switch to hot fix branch, entire master state, production state will be maintained in it for you to deliver your hot fix in isolation. The switch is very essential operation. Then there are two things. You have rollback and then reset. So reset is something, if your local repository, there are a lot of changes that you want to undo, and you want to bring your local repository in line with remote repository, that is when reset is useful. But if you want to go back to a completely previous state in your repository, including your remote repository, that is when rollback is there. I will talk about in which case we use a rollback, in which case we use a switch. Then last is the cherry picking. Because of the hard coupling between a system and a branch, one of the challenges in gCTS is the hard coupling. So what it means is, while you develop all your changes in your project, you cannot commit easily to various feature branches. You have to commit to one dev branch because your project dev is connected to your project SAP development system. So you have to keep pushing your changes from your SAP system into the development branch. But not all of them would want to go into QA. Not all of them would want to go into UAT. Not all of them would want to get into prod. This is where we talk about cherry picking. To be able to pick up the commits, to be able to move those commits as and when which are certified. So this is one view of how do we deliver, how do we have continuous delivery with gCTS. Let's say this is your business as usual, this is your project development. Here there can be multiple projects also based on your go-live strategy. It can be geo-specific go-lives, or there can be multiple different initiatives that run. So you will have, let's say, this is your BAU, is your business as usual, where you deliver probably every 2 weeks you deliver a release. Project is more of determined by your scope and when do you want to release it. So let's say you have 3 commits that you did into release branch using Git cherry picking. Suppose here we have C1, C2, C3 going into this release branch, but when the teams tested, one of them is rejected. So I'm moving them into this shared dev or main dev. All these stories have come deployed into the shared development box. And let's say here one user story is cut down, C3 is rejected. So you can cherry pick those 2 components into your QA branch and deploy. And similarly, whatever is approved in each stage, based on your validations and quality checks, you can move those changes along to various environments. Ideally, this should have been, in a more ideal case, each of these commits should have gone into independent feature branches, but it is very hard to test. You cannot keep changing your DS4 to different branches always, so that is where I still maintained one release branch where all commits go in, and you cherry pick whatever is approved in each stage as a merge and deploy. This is a little bit different. You have been using the transport import, the import queues, and all those things, but this is delegating the entire deployment responsibility into Git. You just say Git pull, and it does deployment. All the conflict resolution, everything happens in the Git layer. Similarly, from a project, let the commits come in, they go here, any conflicts are resolved, and we follow the similar path. As and when a deployment happens to production, you can initiate a merge between the master to your, whether it is a release branch, whether it is a BAU branch, you can initiate a back merge. This will ensure that all your boxes are fully aligned after the production deployment is done. This may look a little bit overwhelming, too many branches, too much, but there are a lot of advantages when you bring in a system like Git. It makes it easy for you to resolve conflicts because there are a lot of tools that you can use to resolve conflicts. Then it also gives you capability to pick up what you need and move what you need. So this is a model that we generally implement from a gCTS standpoint. Now, one thing that is missing in this one is, okay, this is all good project-wise and the business as usual wise, but what if I get a hotfix suddenly that I have to deliver? So hotfix, here I assume that you have an environment that you can use for hotfix. That's what I call hotfix dev. And then we push into the hotfix branch as a Git commit, and then we merge into the pre-prod to a dedicated environment for hotfix testing. And then if it is all good, then we push into master. Once it goes to master, you have established a back sync that anything that goes into production will automatically be synced to all environments. But when we were implementing this for customers, there are a couple of challenges that we observed. Number one, no one had this hotfix dev. They just said it is not possible. Provisioning SAP systems is not easy. We don't have a dedicated environment for hotfix. Now tell me. That was the first question that they asked. Then second, nobody had a dedicated pre-prod for hotfix testing. They said, nothing doing. We don't have this environment. Now you tell me. In my pre-prod, I have 3 releases already there. I have a one geo release already in pre-prod. Another geo release is coming next week. There is a BAU release that is already here in pre-prod. We already screwed my pre-prod. But I don't have another environment. Now tell me, how do you want to release your hotfix? This is where we talk on the ground. These are challenges that deviate. This is a very ideal slide, but this is not what it is when we actually sit with the customers. So that is where this is very handy, maybe a little bit technical, but something that has worked in a situation where you have shared environments, whether it is for BAU or whether it is for hotfix. You have a shared environment, one box for your maintenance releases and hotfix, and you don't have a dedicated test environment for hotfix. This model has worked. So the way we recommend is, if you have to give a hotfix, switch your BAU dev to hotfix. What does it mean? See, first you create a hotfix branch from your main. That means it is equal to production. Now switch your BAU dev to hotfix. That means your BAU dev, whatever may be your local commits, they are all preserved in Git. But system changes its state. It becomes equal to production. Now let them develop the changes. Now switch your pre-prod to hotfix. Pre-prod commits are all preserved in your pre-prod branch. Your pre-prod system changes into production. Test your hotfix here. And if it is all good, then push into master. Deploy into production. After you deploy, now you have to change back your system states. That means you switch back your hotfix to pre-prod. That means again your pre-prod system becomes a pre-prod, actual pre-prod system. Then you push your change back into the BAU development branch and switch your hotfix into BAU development again. So your BAU development again becomes the actual system. So what we did here using Git is to be able to isolate your systems without having additional systems. That will give you a lot of savings in terms of procuring, in terms of provisioning SAP boxes and configuring them. Using this model, using the switch effectively, using gCTS effectively, you can change one system state to another system state without a lot of effort. So that is where this model is very handy if you are trying to implement gCTS and you do not have enough environments for isolation. Okay, what is the challenge that we have got here? This looks very possible, and this actually worked when we implemented. Then we have got another challenge. The switch operation in SAP was taking 4 hours time. So while we advocated all this, but if they want to change this development box into Hotfix, it was taking 4 hours for the switch. Now they were asking, what are my SLAs? I have to deliver a P0 incident in 2 hours. That is my SLA. If you take for the switch operation itself, if you take 4 hours, then it won't work for us. We will not be able to meet our SLAs for hotfix delivery. So then we worked with SAP. They did some magic. They brought it down to 1 hour for the switch. But there is also another option which we explored was the rollback. So we were actually rolling back BAU dev into when the production deployment was done. So that was much faster. So yeah, so this is how you can actually visualize if you want to try out Git. See, CETS, if you have seen, there are no major upgrades. At least I have not seen major upgrade, and in the OpenSAP and SAP Learning Academies, they are mentioning CETS may not have further upgrades. And with the kind of complexity that systems are evolving, you need to get used to Git. And that is why exploring gCTS with a model like this, you will be able to do an assessment, whether it will work for me. So this is a summary of challenges that we have got. One I mentioned about the branch limitation that we have. Because the system is tied to branch, it is not flexible to maintain future branches. Second is downgrade protection. gCTS do not have native downgrade protection because it is a Git pull. You are not doing a transport import. You are doing a Git deploy. You are doing a Git pull. So you cannot have downgrade protection. So before you do the Git pull, you have to write a OData service to check the versions of the transports. Then syntax validation, if somebody directly goes and makes the changes in Git, it is very hard for you to verify whether that change is working or that change is not working. Because in Git, you don't have the capability to validate syntax for your SAP. Cherry picking, sometimes, see, cherry picking that is the only way that gCTS can work. But cherry picking, you need to be careful in maintaining dependencies and ensure that all the commits are correctly brought in when you are merging and deploying. And last is the user and team. We have found a minor issue with respect to synchronizing teams between ABAP systems and gCTS as the user IDs change a little bit. So these are some of the challenges that we have seen when implementing gCTS. I will just show in release how this pipeline looks like. If I have to present another screen. I need to share another screen. Oh, yeah. So probably I take a few minutes to just show how it is actually set up. In release.all, we can do this end-to-end, completely automated. If any of you want to explore gCTS, we have built in release.all completely automated way of doing it. These are the user stories which are from your Jira, Azure DevOps, ServiceNow Agile, wherever. And if you look at the release pipeline that we have created here, this is the gCTS pipeline. I will just walk you through. So in Releaseall works on the principle of release pipelines, wherein you can pretty much define your change and release management process across your systems. For example, here I have QA and prod. In QA, I want an approval process, and then I want to have a deployment. Then I want to have a test evidence report submitted. And after that, I want to update my Jira status. Similarly, once it is all done, then in production, I have to raise a ServiceNow ticket automatically with all this context. And once the ServiceNow request is approved, then we want to do a production deployment, git pull. After that, I want to initiate a merge task to pull whatever is in production to give to various systems as a back merge, and then update my user stories. So this is a very flexible framework that you can, whether you want to call external systems, whether you want to initiate DocuSigns, whether you want to initiate TOC imports in general, or you want to release transports. Releaseall pipelines actually is designed for all editions of SAP, transport, gCTS, BTP, CPI, SSE, DataSphere. It is all pretty much covered. So bottom line, the reason I'm showing this is coming from DevOps, coming from Git. If you want to experience gCTS for your projects, we can work together, we can collaborate, even if it's a thought leadership that we share knowledge in terms of branching models and all that. Somebody like me will be available just from thought leadership side to help you implement gCTS in your projects. And one last thing that I would like to show before I wrap up is if you have a conflict, whether it is whatever may be the conflict size, if you have a conflict, then you can pretty much see the conflict here. When you are merging, if you get a conflict, you can see the conflicts left-hand side, right-hand side, and you can resolve. So again, this is the knowledge session, so I don't want to take too much into the product. So I'm coming to my last slide. So as a summary, this is what I just want to restress again. With gCTS, it is about version control meeting SAP. And you can establish a true continuous delivery using gCTS. And with the OData REST APIs, you can pretty much design a comprehensive. See, you have Piper. Piper also has a lot of gCTS operations. If you use Piper, you have understanding of Piper, you can set up using Piper as well. Yeah, I talked about challenges. Yes, these are challenges, but I strongly believe that if you have multiple systems, let's say, for example, your UAT can happen only if two systems merge, or you have two parallel landscapes that have to go live together. You have tried transport management solvents for a while now, and we have seen those challenges when implementing such complex go-lives. You explore gCTS once, and definitely it will give you a much better experience as well. So on this note, it has been a 16-hour journey for me to be here to spend time with you all. Thank you for bearing 30 minutes with me, and thank you to the organizers and all those experts who have come here. Thank you.
improve the platform governance and monitoring.
Hello. Hey. Hi, everybody. First of all, I hope that I will be not boring, because I know that after lunch is quite difficult. I'm Antonio Valladares. I'm CEO and Managing Partner of COTEN, and I'm the third Antonio of the day. There will be one more, and I promise that we will finish with the Antonios. Okay? So yeah. Let's start first talking a little bit about our company. So we are a very technical consultant firm, and in our skill sets we have integration, of course, and we are going to talk about this. We cover SAP integrations and also non-SAP integrations. We are very technical, so we cover all the type of developments. We started developing in the core with the ABAP, but we moved to all the developments that we can do in the BTP. So it's not only the low-code, no-code ones, but also the pro-code like CAP, RAP, and the medium ones like UE5 and Fiori. And then we also have a domain of data. So in the domain of data, we started with the old BO, BW, and now we are very into the data spheres, SAP Analytic Clouds, but we extend also our knowledge to the AWS suite and the Azure suite. And aside of this, we also have a line that is very important for us that is related with the compliance. But I think today we hear really nice words for the compliance already, so we will not extend in that day. So we try to orient not only your service, but also we try to orient it to do products. And we have products related with the compliance part, but today we are going to talk about one product that we are very proud of that is related with integration, and we call it COTEN CI Accelerator. So, why CI Accelerator? No? So we move to the cloud, and we move to integrations that are not the same as we had in PIPO. So our vision is that we should not move the old interface, old school interface into these cloud services, and what we want to do is improve this. And for that, we do have a vision. No? We want to generate the foundation of an architecture of the integration for the future. So we did all this COTEN CI Accelerator. But COTEN CI Accelerator is more than a product. No? It comprises a methodology. Our methodology is based on the SAP Activate, and it's been proved that it's quite successful for this kind of projects. We also have tools, and this is what we are going to focus to talk today. I'm sure that nobody here wants to talk about methodology. So today we will focus really talking about the tools that we have in order to speed up these projects. But also, it's important to have the governance. And for the governance, there is also a long way to walk for us and for SAP as well. So, what is the objective of the CI Accelerator? Speed up and accelerate the journey to the cloud. But more important, much more important than doing it very fast, and that is guarantee a good quality and a good governance of our integration system. Let me explain you how this started with a value proposition case. No? So we were participating in large implementation of integration suite that we have a very long discovery phase. No? We were preparing for starting the project 6 months. No? And during these 6 months, we were doing proof of concept of every single challenge that we will face during the project. No? We were thinking, oh, how we will do the retry mechanism, how we will do the error handling. Do we have any alerting here that we can implement? How we will stick this with our Jira or with our ServiceNow? But we were doing blueprints of all the single interface scenarios that we will have. Okay? And this really leads to a success. But unfortunately, not all the companies can afford this. So we hear a lot of times that with a lack of discovery and a lack of architectural planning, this leads sometimes to unhappiness with the tool. And I can tell you, Integration Suite is an amazing tool. Okay? So what we can do for fixing these problems, no? So what we did is to try to pack all this knowledge into one package. So this package, we evolve it because we learn from one project for another one, for own experience, how to customize this, how to improve that. But we also, having it as a package, is a democratization of the know-how. We go there and we deploy our tools with all our knowledge. Okay? So at the end of this, having a methodology plus the Code 10 CI accelerator leads with a success and a happiness of the customer with integration suite. And luckily, lately, we got a recognition out of this. So I've been saying last year about the integration patterns, et cetera, and this year we are lucky that we have the validation from SAP as a partner use case. So, working with SAP, we were also talking how we can deliver this, because our initial approach is that, hey, we'll do the projects, we come with all our tools, and here you have. So we divided into two different parts. The add-on, that probably the ones that they hear me speaking and other times they are aware of this. So the add-on is all the content that we go to a fresh integration suite, we deploy, and it accelerates the conversion. No? I will do a short talk about the add-on, but we will focus today in the apps. The apps is quite new. We released the first version in April, and they were evolving a lot. So we built some apps in CAP to improve the user experience of BTP. And we try to keep it with the same look and feel as integration suite, so both are matching. But let's move a little bit to the add-on. No? So the add-ons, we divided into three different pillars. No? The first pillar, and for me is the most important one, is the integration patterns. Integration patterns is no more than blueprinting all the type of scenarios that we can handle. So we have one pattern for exactly once in order, another pattern for exactly once, another pattern for best effort. Name it, and there is a pattern. Also, the second pillar is the monitoring tools. Before going to the monitoring tools. Integration patterns now, this year, sounds more familiar. Maybe last year, when I was talking that we need to do integration using patterns and so on, it was not that familiar, because SAP released the concept of pipeline. And the concept of pipeline are very good matches between what we were doing in the last 4 or 5 years and what SAP is pushing nowadays. Really, it's based on the same principles. It's having the same concept. A car has 4 wheels, or pattern has 4 wheels, and SAP pipeline concept has 4 wheels. It's the same concept. Another pattern that is part of our add-on of CI Accelerator are monitoring and alerting tools that are part of our patterns, that are integrated in our patterns, and they allow to do alerting and monitoring for the 21st century. Okay? Let's stop sending these spam emails that we were getting with PIPO, and let's do alerts integrated with Jira, with Service Desk, with Sense, whatever ITL tool we can integrate it with. And then we have the toolkit. The toolkit is whatever we cannot put in the other part, and in the other pillars, we put it over there. So we have a set of scripts, we have a functionality for disaster recovery, backup mechanisms, integrations with repositories, whatever we can imagine that we cannot put it into monitoring and alerting or integration patterns, we put it over there. Let me show you a small video, because this small video, it will allow you to understand a little bit what we want to do with the Code 10 apps.
If you are one of those who say SAP PIPO was better, SAP Integration Suite, it's not ready yet, or the monitoring was better in SAP PIPO, then watch this video. Code 10 CI Accelerator apps are friendly applications to enhance the use of SAP Integration Suite and Code 10 CI Accelerator add-on. Improve the platform governance and monitoring. Applications are developed using SAP CAP and UI5 guidelines to ensure a comprehensible UX and deployed on your SAP BTP sub-account. The Integration Suite Enhanced UX begins in the homepage. Our landing page gives you an overview of the most relevant KPIs of Integration Suite in a single screen. When you open your Code 10 CI Accelerator apps, you will immediately see the status of your integrations. Our integration dashboard is a combination of design time and runtime artifacts properties. Objects are grouped by packages in a tree table. It allows to deploy, undeploy artifacts in bulk. And finally, of course, we have equipped it with a filter to make it easy for you to locate any artifacts. We have also designed a message monitor displaying end-to-end processes defined in the interface cockpit. Allows to select by message status as well as to see message detail, navigate to standard logs, and filter by custom headers. Our interface cockpit provides an interface inventory based on integration patterns. It allows you to add new interfaces. Additionally, it is compatible with SAP integration pipeline concept or your own patterns with the freestyle option. Our value mapping dashboard will simplify value mapping activities and maintenance with multiple functionalities oriented to speed up the development. You can load from Excel file, export to Excel and CSV, visual creation and maintenance, create versions, and deploy or undeploy. Finally, we come to the certificate monitor. All the certificates in a single screen with filtering options like filtering by expiration date, alias, or type. Avoid the certificate expiration problems. Visit our website and contact us to request a demo. Code 10.
Okay, thank you very much. So I want to show you this video just in case I don't have time to show you the rest in the computer, okay? But let's go a little bit with the architecture that we have. No? I know that there are a lot of people interested in that matter. So basically, this is developed using the CAP philosophy. And all is deployed in your own BTP. So that's the idea. So let's start with the logging. So we allow two types of logging. No? We can use the custom AIS, or we can use the authorization and trusted management system. This is important because we want also to build a governance in the future, and it will be based on that. We need to polish a little bit more the governance part, as I mentioned. Then all the front end is deployed in the build works on, and is developing HTML5. Okay, and from the front end, we do have an OData connection directly with the integration suite for some cases, not all of them. Okay, so the app is developing in the CAP, and we use a SQLite in memory. So we have a version that can use S/4HANA or Postgres, and they are way faster. But in order to maintain a login, and in order to also do a democratization, because they maybe does not justify the price of the database if you only want to have the monitoring tools, we also deployed with an in-memory SQLite. And for the in-memory SQLite, it's also loading the data using a destination, using OData with the integration suite. So wrapping up a little bit, we do have the front end developed with SAP UI5. We use the theme Horizon, that is exactly the same as integration suite use. And we do have the backend part that is use CAP and Node.js in order to do all the magic behind the scenes, okay? But I think it's better to show it using the computer. It's risky, but let's take the risk. So I'm hoping that I have it here. Let me first refresh the session, just in case. Okay, so ¿qué tengo que hacer? Se desconectó del todo, toqué algo. Ahí está. So I was saying, this is the dashboard. I think we saw it in the video. So here the idea is to include more KPIs. So we do releases every 6 months. Every 6 months we add new functionalities. So now we have a certificate monitoring that in one shot you can see, hey, I have some certificates that they have expired, but the most important, I will have some certificates that they will expire in 1 or 2 months. And this is very useful because we don't have any other tool for that. We have some KPI about how it started and so on, but we will include much more with errors. And we have an interactive KPI for the monitoring, okay? So we can refresh here, we can see the message in the 24 hours, et cetera, et cetera. Then we have our integration dashboard. So here we can see all the interface in one single screen. And why we develop this? Because you say we have the interfaces in integration suite as well. So we develop this because we have a request from our customers that they say, hey, I have facilities in US that sometimes we need to do maintenance, and we need to go iFlow by iFlow, doing and deploy, and deploy, and deploy, and undeploy. So what we did is we built a massive undeploy, massive deploy, all in one single screen, and also it allows us to see which version we have developed and which version we have deployed. And we can see that it's a little bit bold here, and we see a different version. No? We have the deployed version 1.2, but we do have loaded in our system the 1.3. If we have time, then I will deploy the things. Let me jump the message monitoring because I want to do it for the very end. And let's jump to the value mapping. So I'm sure that some of here work with PIPO, and they know the importance of the value mappings. No? A lot of companies are used to use them to do conversions one-to-one. No? And one of the things that I was doing in the large project, it was having a magic Excel where I was putting all the values for the value mapping, and then the Excel was using a web service connecting to the PIPO in order to load the value mappings. I love that, my magic Excel. So we want to do something similar for Integration Suite, but we thought, okay, it's not time for doing this from an Excel. So we built this application in CAP that we can see all the value mappings. We can search, for example, BMS, and we click here, and we have different identifiers. So we have one conversion from plant to cost center. We can order the actual values by name, whatever, and we can import and export from an Excel, okay? So this is very useful also to fill sometimes, you know. I've been in companies that they have 6 different landscapes: development, development 2, quality, pre-production, retrofit, and production, and then, you know, you need to do this thing manually in each system. Loading from an Excel using a user interface version is much simpler, and it's better, okay? So this was the business purpose out of this. Certificate monitoring, I think, speaks by themselves, okay? The certificates are in the key store, and it's difficult. You need to go one to the different folders. This is one single place where you will see them all. So you click in 1 month to expire, and you know, okay, I have a Google certificate that is going to expire in 1 month. You go for here, you know, for example, the ones that are expired, and we have it even in red. And from here, you can also deploy and undeploy certificates in the integration suite, completely connected. But one of the functionalities that we are more proud of is the monitoring. So the monitoring has a lot of work behind, okay? Because what we can see here is a monitoring that is compatible with one single process, one simple iFlow, or multiple iFlows connected, no? So for example, we have the case of Alta that is one single step. It's one interface that you send a message, it executes one iFlow, is delivered, full stop. This is a synchronous interface in this case. And from here, we can go, and we can go to the standard, to the integration suite, okay? And you can navigate to the message perfectly if it loads. Sometimes it's faster on monitoring than the integration suite monitoring, but they are both in the same BTP. Okay? It's running. Here we go, okay? So here we can see the Alta message. But then we have the integrations that they use our patterns. And for that one, we have the integration of an IDOC, DevMass with HubSpot, and we can see all the steps that this message was doing. And we can navigate to the message itself into the standard. Or also we can navigate from here, based on the correlation ID, to the list that is filtered by the correlation ID from the standard that it will show now, okay? Also, for this demo, we decided to show you using the pipeline concept. So we build two interfaces. One is to receive from a 3PL, in this case it will be my postman, messages into SAP. So we use in this case we didn't use our patterns, we use purely the patterns that are suggested by SAP. So SAP in this case defines, for this case, because this is a direct point, use of 4 layers. No? The first one that is to receive a REST message, in this case is REST XML. Okay? Then the inbound processing of this. Step 3 will be doing the conversion from JSON to XML, but this case does not apply. And then this is a direct. We don't do receiver determination, nothing. Just do the outbound processing of the conversion and then delivering the IDOC to SAP. But I will show you how easy it is to set up an integration pattern that is more complex than this one. I will say that this is what we are going to set up all together here is one of the most complex integration patterns that SAP has, using the pipeline concept. So we have this part that we call it interface cockpit. Here is where we have the configuration of the interface that we will display and group. Whatever is not configured here, it will be shown as not configured as another message. So we click in Add Interface, and we can put a name. Okay, so in this case, is dispatch advice from SAP to 3PL. Okay, in this case, the message type is this ADB, and the sender system, I will call it SAP. And this is, we have here, out of the box, our patterns for synchronous and asynchronous, okay? But in this case, we are using the SAP pattern. So we always have the option of freestyle. Freestyle, you can add whatever pattern. So, first step. Step 01, okay? So in the step 01, this we say that this is inbound processing for IDOC. This is the reception of the IDOC. We have a second step, step 02. What I'm adding here is the iFlows directly, okay? For the ones that they are not familiar, this is like small interfaces. Inbound processing. In the step number 3, we will not have the step number 3 that SAP is suggesting, because the step number 3 is oriented to do content conversion, like JSON to XML or flat file to XML. So in this case, we will jump directly to the step number 4, the step 04, and here we have the receiver determination, okay, the standard one. Step number 5, interface determination, and step 6, output processing, and finally the delivery. Step 07, 222, 3PL to RP. Okay, I hope that I did it well. If not, it will not work. So once we create this pattern, there is some magic behind the scenes, and then in the mapping, if we refresh, it will not work. Let me refresh. Let me review. Sorry. Very fast. I did a mistake with one step, so it's not recognizing. So this path, nice, Okay, we go to the freestyle, and now I will try to do it as fast as I can. Sorry. Step 01. Res from, no, this is idoc. That was my mistake. Step 02. Inbound processing. Step 04. Receiver determination. Step 05, interface determination. Step and this is ERP to 3PL, not this. Yeah. And if we go now, tell me that I did it again wrong. Definitely, with 7 steps, I went too far away. Whatever mistake, not choosing the right iFlow, I will pay it here. Okay. I screw it again. I'm sorry for the team. This works perfectly. So if you select the iFlows, I try to go for an example with 6 steps, and I made a mistake with one of the steps. Basically, this is a quite easy way to set up this monitor, and you will get in one simple dashboard how the message it went through. Okay, so let me show you the one that is here again, and we have all these steps here, and we can navigate. Let me go back to the presentation. Are you familiar? Is anyone here using integration pipeline concept or any kind of integration patterns? No? A little bit? Okay. So basically, this is our pattern for exactly once. Okay? Just want to explain it together with the example that we deploy. Basically, we have a first pattern that we receive the message. And the reason of having this is because Integration Suite open asynchronous communication, and dropping the message into a JMS queue, we just cut the communication. Like that, we improve the performance of the sender system. Then we have a routing tier, SAP divided into 2-3 steps, depending on the case, in order to do the transformation, the determination of the system that it will reach, and the determination of the mapping. In our case, we do it in one step. And then we have the application tier, that is where we do the mapping. We will do a real transformation. In the pipeline concept, SAP is doing it in the outbound processing, and we both have a dispatching layer that is the one that sends the message to the receiver system, okay? Thank you very much for attending this. Sorry again for the mistake in the live demo. It was too challenging. I learned from SAP that it's better to bring videos because then nothing will fail.
empiezo? Shall I go? Okay, let's start. Good afternoon, everyone. Big thanks also from my side to the people who have set this up, especially Luis and David. My name is Bernhard Luecke. I would like to invite you to talk about SAP support for a while, especially what we are doing with AI, but also a little bit with robotic process automation. Let's go into it. Maybe quick food for thought. Think a moment about it. 2024, how many cases do you think are we processing in 1 year, meanwhile? Anyone dares to? What do you say? 10,000. 2 million. 2 million cases in a year. And if you think about this topic, it's immediately clear what a huge potential we have of saving effort for us, but also for you, which is even more important. So there's a few marketing slides. I don't want to spend too much time on them. What is, of course, important, what I said, new technology. We all know what has been happening over the last 2 years in terms of opportunities to use new technologies, especially LLM, Gen AI. And this is what we bet on. And I think we have about 24 AI, Gen AI, LLM scenarios in production. And you have heard the volumes that we are managing. And we have many, many more in the pipeline and tested. And the value is, I would say, it's satisfying, but by far not what we believe we can still achieve by developing the technologies further. And of course, we also want to change the way how we work together with you, especially offering more ways to interact with SAP support, but also being much more proactive, ideally notifying our customers in advance. Here's something where maybe a problem can occur if you don't take action. This is possible, of course, mainly in the public cloud space. In the private cloud or on-premise space, it's much more difficult to really detect a risk of a potential problem and to notify. Good. So technical support now is one organization. It was a little bit more divided during the last years. In Concur, Ariba had their own support organizations, SuccessFactors also. Now it's all under one roof, supporting all the solutions of SAP. And of course, what we really want is that there is no issue at all coming up. This is mainly a task, of course, for product engineering, but we support, for example, by testing, helping with the test of the products, and also by giving continuous feedback. The feedback process has been consolidated over the last 2 years also, so that as we solve 70% of the cases on our level, we need to provide the feedback from these solutions to development so that they can also take this into account when optimizing the products so that you at the end have less effort. Once, of course, we have not been able to prevent something occurs, what we then want is that you can solve the problem, that you don't need us. It's better for you also, because you don't have to wait for anyone. So the more we can enable partners and customers to overcome an issue, the better. And of course, if something occurs, then, and you need us, we want to engage with you in the best possible way and also in the most efficient possible way, of course. Yeah, this is the manager of my manager. We are now about 6,000 people also that are dealing with this 2 million cases per year. But let's talk about this main thing. Our transformation blueprint, I'm in support for about 20 years, SAP support. We had never such a big change, never in the past. Yeah? We changed some things, we introduced the chat, some other new support portal and so on, but never such a project, but also we never had such technical possibilities, of course. And I would like to walk you quickly through it, but also complementing it with some demos. So the most familiar application that you have seen if you are working really with the product and ever interacted with SAP support, there is the Get Support application. For the public cloud products, what we are doing is to integrate this into the products. I will also show this a little bit later on. But for private cloud or on-premise, you go to the SAP, the Get Support application, and there is already a series of machine learning applications integrated. There is a matching with the solution once you are typing something in. The search is based, of course, nowadays also on GenAI. Once you are typing in also, we already try to suggest you a product or even a component. Why? Because we have this challenge. We have some S users that work with us once per quarter. There are business users at the end. They need this kind of support. We have also the very experienced users, maybe here in the room also, that wouldn't really need it. Yeah? Let me even start to show something here. This demo, I wouldn't like to play it in the full length. This is just something that I don't know if you have seen it. Now, in the Get Support, if you go on KBA and Notes, you can see some KBAs and notes recommended from SAP for certain products or for certain components. Why are they recommended? Either because our most expert engineers have recommended certain nodes or KBAs so that you can look at them and maybe prevent something, or it has been a spike in accesses at this KBA. Recently there have been lots of views. Then it's also recommended in this list here. But what is maybe more interesting, if we go here into the Get Support application, and I have already advanced here in creating a case. What I wanted to show you is in the past, once you have entered this short description, we already tried to predict something, and we saw it doesn't really work well enough. We need the long text, and this has now changed. Let me just copy and paste here a text. I think it's about this here, managed block documents. So this is the description. It's something in gCTS, Global Trade Services, and you have to select a system here. Okay. And now, this is also a change. In the past, you got this kind of recommendations, but on the right side. And to be honest, also happens to me, many people didn't look at this, what was on the right side. Now we put it below so that your natural flow has to stumble upon these documents. And I have to say they are really, really better, yeah, these recommendations. We have optimized the data lake, the model that is behind. We have, of course, it's training every time. So I would really recommend you to have a look at these documents. Okay, this is the main thing I wanted to show you here. In the Get Support. Once you want to engage with us, in the past there was like a list. You can choose a channel. You can send a case like always, but you could also chat with us, and you could also go to so-called Ask an Expert peer, which are SAP professionals that would deal with your case. And what we are going to do more in the future is to really strongly recommend you a channel. For example, for the very highest, we still prefer to get a written case that we can also easily share with other stakeholders, and we would call you back. But for the high cases, we want systematically be faster. What we want to achieve is to get them more by chat, the P2s, to immediately do either, in some cases, a solution, but at least a pre-clarification. And how do we choose what might be the best channel for you would, of course, also based on machine learning applications. Yeah? And we would also, that is more for the future, try to better match even your case with one of the available engineers or the soon-to-be available engineer. This is by far not an easy determination, who is the best resource, because maybe now there is a professional engineer in this topic, but maybe in 1 hour there's a super expert available. So maybe it's better to wait 1 hour with a very complex case. But with an easy case, maybe it's better to go to the available engineer. So we believe it's by machine learning, it will be much better than by a rule-based assignment. Good. We also implement more automation. For example, it's a common sense case, but for public cloud now it's possible. You send a case, it's waiting in the queue, and before the engineer sees it, behind there are robots that collect already stuff. We have this in Commerce Cloud, for example. Yeah, the robot you send us a performance case. Performance not good in this or that application. And then, while the engineer is closing another case, behind the robot collects memory data, CPU data, query data, and so on, and brings it already to the engineer when the engineer opens the case. Yeah. Also, we can triage how severe is something in public cloud, right? How many customers are affected by this? How big is really the impact of this? Is it a small incident? Is this a big incident? Also here we are using machine learning more and more to determine how big of an impact does this have. Yeah, internal support tools. Maybe also here a demo. So just one example, it's also a relatively easy example. We have our work instructions. It's a huge document, growing every time. Our processes get more complex. Data protection, EUDP, SLAs, there are more contracts. So sometimes we have to look things up, and of course there is a search in this document, but we have also implemented a ChatGPT application where we have ChatGPT looking into this document, right? So if I'm an engineer and I have a EUDP, European Data Protection case, that has special rules, I can answer here. I can ask how to process an EUDP case. Yeah? And I can send this to the ChatGPT. One of the main complaints of the engineers is the performance still. Of course, this is also a question of hardware investment, but it is true, sometimes it takes a while. In this case, not even so much. So this is what ChatGPT then answers, extracting the information from this huge PDF document with our work instructions. And it's immediately clear that this is much more efficient than having the engineer searching in the document. Also, some information is spread over the document, and it's all here in this answer. Yeah? Very, very convenient. Let's see another thing. And please don't pay attention to the details, because this is a concrete, these are cases, okay? Yeah, don't tell anyone that I have shown real cases here. And what we see here, for example, we have a co-pilot in the system with different use cases. For now, you can only two use cases here. One, support communication assistant. This is a little bit for our non-English native speaker. Yeah, the Chinese colleagues, the Brazilian colleagues, it really helps them sometimes to give a better answer, a better formulated answer, a better structured answer, more adequate according to the country of the customer. But also here you can see a summarized case thing. For example, cases that go over pages and pages and pages. You have maybe seen this internally. You can say here, summarize case, trigger Copilot. Here also, it takes a little bit. So that is usually You see also anonymizing data. So, of course, we need to take care. You know, in some cases, the LLM providers are somewhere else. In some cases, it's inside of SAP. Data needs to be anonymized, even sometimes to be sent over. Let's see if I have another one that shows already the result. I had to refresh the connection, so maybe not. Maybe we go back to this afterwards. As you see, here, engineer feedback, it takes too long. It doesn't help me. But also, for the engineers, it's not really so often used. We use this more often as manager. If we get a case on our table that is escalated, then this is an easy way to get an overview. Here you see, this is the outcome. Yeah? What is the symptom, problem, environment, steps to reproduce, and so on. And this is really one of the best parts here. Yeah? What has really been happening in this case so far? It's also very useful when we send something to development. Yeah? They don't have to go through all the case. And something I also wanted to share, what we have in all our internal AI applications. Here, of course, further training by humans, thumbs up, good summary, thumbs down, not so good summary, right? This trains further, and we can provide here in the box feedback. Yeah? We allow every user with every access and interaction with the LLM to provide feedback. Good, I think we are okay, still some time. Good, so yeah, some use cases here, summarizing a case, getting with ChatGPT the right information out of a huge document. These are examples for our internal applications that help us to be more efficient. Another one which is really nice is this KBA assistant creation. So you know KBAs if you deal with us. It's very important to document, ideally with each case, either we update a KBA or we create a new KBA if there is none. This is also now supported by an AI assistant, and we are working on the one that helps us even to update an existing KBA from a case, which is even more interesting for the more mature applications. Good, let's look into a recorded demo again. This is also a new thing. Yeah, this is, I think, something that is interesting. So it's not the same user interface, maybe it's still a little bit in pilot, but the typical thing, yeah, you search, yeah? Use search, and what we give back to you nowadays is a list of documents. And I know sometimes it's just too many documents in this list, or too many not really relevant documents in the list. So what we are heading to is to do this in a Gen AI conversation. So it says here how to reset my password, and if you have worked with ChatGPT, you know how this answer is being built up. So instead of having you scanning through these proposed documents, we are trying to give you a more procedural or guided answer. Yeah? But not an already existing guided answer, but a guided answer in the very moment, reacting on your question. Now it's a new question. How to reset my password for success factors. It's more precise, and then you also get, of course, a more precise guidance. Yeah? It's not documents for you to look through. It's really what we want to tell you is you come with a question, a problem, and we answer you, do A, B, C, D. Yeah? This will come, I think, next year in Q2 probably. Yeah? Usually we try it first, maybe with 20% of the S users, and then once we have improved it and it's ready, we make it available for all the S users and the P users, of course. Good. Yeah. Some more things, of course, this is more for the public cloud. Of course, in public cloud, outbreak detection, right? Bigger problems often start small, yeah? Maybe in one tenant or in one server, and then they can grow. Important here to detect these outbreaks as early as possible, but for this, you get maybe different signals. Yeah? A case here, a case there, some alarm here, and you need intelligence, in this case, not anymore human intelligence, to detect, oh my God, this belongs together. This is all coming from one outbreak, from one root cause. And with AI, we believe we can detect these outbreaks earlier. And then you detect this outbreak, okay, there's a problem in this public cloud application. And there are coming still cases in, right? So what you then do is you define this outbreak. This is a major problem, and the incoming cases, you scan them to check, oh, they belong to this problem or not belong to this problem. Yeah, this is very important, that you map all the right incoming cases to this major problem. Also, this is done with the case matching application with machine learning. Yeah. Next thing is that maybe it's still spreading over more tenants or so. And then you want maybe to proactively inform the customers that maybe will be hit by this or just are about to be hit by this. So you take this outbreak and match it to the customers that most likely will be affected by this, yeah, even if they are not yet affected. Yeah? And you can already inform, or you can take a decision whether you want to inform these customers or you wait until the issue is really happening, but then you just press the button or do it even automatically to inform these customers earlier. And taking this further, this is the final goal, of course, is even before something happens, yeah, sharing with customers or with certain customers. We are looking into your public cloud tenant. Yeah, there it's legal, it's in the contract. And if you don't take action, probably in 1 month you can run into this problem. This, of course, is what we want to achieve. Sounds easy, but it is very, very complex to really predict this is probably going to happen and to find out to whom to talk to on the other side. Who is the right stakeholder on the customer side to be notified, and how, yeah, with which sense of urgency. This is highly complex. So this topic about notification is a topic where we think about really another Gen AI application that takes care of the notification. Yeah? Who is going to be notified? It can even depend. Is it an underlying generic problem, a performance problem? Is it a problem in the finance part of S/4HANA Public Cloud? It depends every time who is the right recipient for notification. Good. This is, I think, the recorded demo, what I was sharing at the beginning. In the public cloud applications, the interaction with support is built into the solution. This is S/4HANA Public Cloud here, part of the purchasing application. And yeah, a user is working here, and now you see here to the right, you don't have to go somewhere to get support. Yeah? It's built-in support. And there are already documents recommended. Why? We started the session with this recommended nodes and KBAs for a specific component in our support portal. This is very similar. For this screen here, let's say, for this part of the purchasing application, these are the currently most accessed KBAs. So it's legitimate to already recommend them to a user in this application that runs into a problem. Yeah? So there are these hot KBAs. Okay, let's see where it goes. Then you can, of course, access these KBAs from, and for the user, it's within the application, right? You can see more recommendations by going down, but you can also see the search field on top, yeah, where also you can, if you have not found anything, then as you see, you can type in the search there. With the header and the long text description. And here the component is already now pre-filled because we know the screen where the user is working, yeah, from where the support is needed. So you basically can now create the incident in the application. Yeah? This is why we call it built-in support. Yeah, so this was this outer wheel that we were looking into. Yeah, when you interact with us, how we support to have a higher efficiency of the whole ecosystem for you and for us, how we want to recommend a more adequate channel when you, according to the urgency, for example, of a case, the complexity of the case, how we automate internally or also increase the efficiency internally with AI-assisted tools. And furthermore, at the end, for especially public cloud spaces, how we try to become more predictive, preventative, and even reach out to our customers before something happens. Yeah. And this inner wheel, also just to reflect very quickly on this, these are also parts of our transformation. First of all, using a lot SAP Signavio. Yeah, we've seen it allows us much better ways to understand what are our customers really doing, for example, when they access the Get Support application. Which KBAs are they viewing? Yeah, how do they go through a support assistant tree? This we are starting to get it from SAP Signavio. Yeah, artificial intelligence is kind of interwoven into all, and knowledge management, it started already much earlier. We had the third implementation of KCS. The third one was very successful. So we've seen an uptick, for example, in KBA views by about 50% year over year. And of course, the documented knowledge, the KBAs, are the counterpart. Without really the documents, the AI and LLM models can also not help so much because they get what they at the end transmit to customers and partners in a different way. It's all coming from the documented knowledge that the support engineers have stored in KBAs. Yeah. Oh, Luis. Okay.
Hi, Bernhard. This AI solution for support will be included in the cloud ALM?
Sorry, can you repeat?
These intelligence artificial solutions for incident solving problems and support will be included in the cloud ALM?
Cloud ALM. Yeah, it will be integrated somehow. It's a good question. I can give it to Dolores or Enrique. Of course, it's in our interest to make it as accessible and as easy as possible, yeah? Because at the end, this allows to save effort for you and for us. So it will absolutely be integrated into Cloud ALM, definitely. Garrett, you want the guarantee? No, I need to add the disclaimer slide. Good. Any other question, curiosity? Yeah, SAP Inside Track Madrid. So, thank you. Thank you. You are invited to SAP Inside Track Madrid. I'm not going to hold the same speech there. Maybe I'm not even speaking because we have hopefully a lot of speakers. Feel free to catch up with me. My email is there, my social contacts. I'm staying here until 6:30 or so. Thanks a lot for your attention and have a good rest of the day then. Thank you.
Hi, hi. In this next refer. So for the next refer, we have for ebooks, sponsored by SAP Press, and another gift card of 100 euro to spend in the SAP store. So let's see. Let's go for the ebooks. So now no, you're clicking.
I would like to thank you, everyone who came here, and all the organizers and sponsors, and yeah.
It's a mistake. It's a mistake.
No, it's not.
It comes running. Sure, you don't hack the system. Sure, you don't hack the system. So.
Okay. Somewhere.
Let's see.
Let's see. Anna. Congratulations.
Anything to say, Anna?
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
So,
Other one. Wait and see who is going to be next. Sorry.
anything without? Yes.